I used to think love meant shrinking myself so she could shine. I paid her MBA fees when her father forgot. I stayed up editing her presentations. I told her, one day you'll run that company. She would smile and kiss my cheek. And you'll be there clapping for me, right? I always said yes. I never told her my app had crossed 1 million users. I never told her investors were calling me every week. I liked being her quiet support. I liked believing that was enough. At the engagement party, she held my arm and whispered, "Please don't say too much tonight." I laughed softly. "When do I ever?" She didn't laugh back. "I'm serious, Arif. Dad's partners are here." The hall glittered with gold lights. I felt out of place in my simple suit. Kabir nudged me. "Bro, this crowd smells money." "Relax," I said. "I'm just here for her." Ria pulled me toward a group of men in sharp suits. "Dad, this is..." She paused. My heart lifted for a second. Mr. Varma looked at me like I was a waiter. "Yes." She laughed and said, "Oh, him? He's just a friend." The words landed slowly. "Just friend." One investor chuckled. "Good. Focus on your career first, Ria." Mr. Varma smirked at me. "Young man, ambition matters. Friendship is fine, but status builds families." I felt silence fill my chest. I forced a smile. "Of course, sir." Ria squeezed my wrist too tight. "Don't make it awkward," she whispered. Kabir stepped beside me. "Just a friend?" he muttered. "It's fine," I said, though my throat burned. Another woman asked Ria, "So are you seeing anyone serious?" She flipped her hair. "Not really. I'm focused on aligning with someone who matches my goals." I stared at her. "Matches?" I asked quietly. She didn't meet my eyes. "You know what I mean." Mr. Varma raised his glass. "My daughter deserves someone powerful." He looked straight at me when he said powerful. I wanted to tell them I owned the tech firm they were trying to partner with. I wanted to say I had already signed letters of intent bigger than their annual revenue. Instead, I stayed quiet. Later, near the balcony, I asked her, "Why did you say that?" She sighed. "Why are you so sensitive?" "Because I'm not your driver, Ria. I'm not invisible." "It was just networking," she snapped. "You wouldn't understand how these rooms work." "I understand respect," I replied. She folded her arms. "My dad already thinks you're small. Don't prove him right." "Small." Kabir found me again. "Say the word. I'll drag you out of here." "I'm fine," I lied. As the night went on, I heard whispers. "That's her friend. Cute, but not her type." Every word felt like a slow cut. Near the dessert table, I stopped when I heard Ria talking to her best friend. "I can't marry someone who doesn't matter," she said. Her friend asked, "But doesn't he love you?" "Love doesn't open boardroom doors," Ria replied. Something inside me cracked. I walked up to her. "Doesn't matter?" She looked startled. "You weren't supposed to hear that. Was I supposed to feel it instead?" I asked. She lowered her voice. "Why are you making a scene?" "I'm not," I said calmly. "You already did." Mr. Varma joined us. "Is there a problem?" I looked at him and then at her. "No, sir. I'm just a friend. Remember?" He gave a thin smile. "Good. Know your place." I held Ria's gaze. "Do you know mine?" She hesitated. That hesitation hurt more than the words. Kabir put a hand on my shoulder. "Let's go." I nodded. As I walked toward the exit, Ria called out, "Don't overreact." I turned back once. "I'm not overreacting," I said. "I'm finally listening." Outside, the night air felt colder than it should have. Kabir asked, "You done?" I stared at the glowing building behind us. "Yeah," I said quietly. "I think I am." For the first time, I realized love without respect is just slow humiliation. And I promised myself I would never stand in a room like that again, as someone who didn't matter. I didn't sleep that night. I kept hearing her voice. Just a friend. By morning, I was staring at the contract on my desk, the buyout deal between my company and Varma Holdings. Kabir leaned against the window in my office. "So this is the big secret?" "Yes," I said. "I own 70% of Nexatech." He let out a low whistle. "And her father is begging Nexatech to save his dying division?" "His infrastructure arm is bleeding money," I replied. "If we don't integrate, it collapses." Kabir folded his arms. "Bro, she humiliated you. Why protect them?" I rubbed my temples. "It's not that simple." "It is," he shot back. "Do I walk away quietly? Or do I sign? That's your question, right?" I looked at him. "Yeah, that's exactly it." My phone buzzed. Ananya Rao's name flashed on the screen. I answered. Morning. She didn't waste time. The board wants your decision today. Varma Holdings can't survive another quarter without our platform. I know, I said. She paused. Are you hesitating because of Ria? I exhaled slowly. This is business. Good, she replied. Then treat it like business. An hour later, I sat at the head of the conference table. Mr. Sinha adjusted his glasses. Arav, this acquisition gives us access to their government contracts. I'm aware, I said. He leaned forward. Then finalize it. We've negotiated long enough. I looked at the papers. And if leadership underperforms? We monitor them, he answered. That's not enough, I said quietly. Ananya slid a file toward me. I've added a performance accountability clause. If their division fails to meet benchmarks, we gain authority to restructure leadership. Mr. Sinha frowned. That's aggressive. It's protection, I replied. Kabir texted me from outside. Remember the balcony? I clenched my jaw. The meeting with Mr. Varma was scheduled at noon. When he walked in, he didn't recognize me at first. His eyes skimmed past me like I was still invisible. He shook Mr. Sinha's hand. I trust Nexitech understands the value we bring. I spoke calmly. We understand the risk too. He glanced at me. And you are? I met his eyes. Arav Mehta, founder and majority shareholder. Silence spread across the table. He forced a smile. The friend. Yes, I said. The friend. He cleared his throat. Let's focus on numbers. I nodded. Your infrastructure division lost 12% this quarter. We're restructuring, he snapped. With our technology, I replied. He leaned back. Young man, this partnership benefits you more than us. I kept my voice steady. Does it? You gain credibility, he said. We gain tools. Ananya spoke smoothly. The revised clause ensures shared accountability. Mr. Varma scanned the page. Terminate leadership? That's excessive. It activates only if targets are missed, I answered. He looked at me sharply. You don't trust my management? I trust performance, I said. He tapped the table. Remove it. I held his gaze. No. The room felt tight. Mr. Sinha shifted uncomfortably. Mr. Varma's voice hardened. You're being emotional. I almost laughed. This is the opposite of emotional. You're overstepping, he said. I'm protecting my company, I replied. He lowered his tone. You care about my daughter. Think carefully. I felt the hit, but I didn't flinch. This isn't about her. Ananya leaned toward me. The board supports the clause, she whispered. Mr. Sinha nodded reluctantly. We need leverage. Mr. Varma stared at me for a long moment. Fine, he said through clenched teeth. We'll exceed your targets anyway. I picked up the pen. My mind whispered again, do I walk away quietly? Or do I sign? Kabir's words echoed. Why protect them? I looked at Mr. Varma. I remembered his smirk. I remembered Ria's laugh. This clause stays, I said firmly. He scoffed. You're making a mistake. Maybe, I replied. But it will be my mistake. I signed the final page. The ink felt heavier than it should have. Ananya signed next. Then Mr. Sinha. Mr. Varma hesitated before adding his signature. You're young, he muttered. Power changes people. I met his eyes one last time. Respect changes people too. When the papers were collected, the partnership was official. But so was the condition. As everyone stood up, Mr. Varma said quietly to me, be careful who you challenge. I answered just as softly, be careful who you underestimate. When the room emptied, I stayed seated for a moment. My hands were steady. My heart wasn't racing anymore. I had given myself the authority to end his leadership if he failed. I looked at my signature again. I signed it with steady hands. For the first time, I felt powerful. The market shifted faster than anyone expected. Within 6 weeks, Varma Holdings' infrastructure division missed 2 major targets. I watched the numbers drop on my screen, each red line tightening something inside me. Mr. Sinha called an emergency meeting. This is worse than projected, he said. I nodded. Their operating costs are inflated. Ananya added, and revenue recognition looks delayed. My phone buzzed before the meeting ended. Mr. Varma. I answered calmly. Yes, sir? You need to stabilize this partnership, he said sharply. According to Clause 7b, leadership accountability applies, I replied. There was a pause. Don't hide behind paperwork. I'm not hiding, I said. I'm enforcing what we signed. He lowered his voice. Our setbacks are temporary. Temporary doesn't erase responsibility, I answered. After the call, Kabir leaned toward me. He sounds scared. He should focus on performance, I said. That evening, Ananya walked into my office with a thick file. You need to see this, she said. I flipped through the documents. Unreported vendor payments? And duplicate invoices, she added. Someone is moving money. Under whose authority? I asked. She met my eyes. The approvals trace back to Mr. Varma's office. I felt heat rise in my chest. Is it confirmed? I double-checked, she replied. It's internal fraud. Kabir swore under his breath. So he's not just incompetent. He's dirty. I leaned back in my chair. If I expose this, he falls. Ananya crossed her arms. If you don't, shareholders suffer. I stared at the ceiling for a second. Am I exposing him for justice or revenge? Kabir watched me carefully. Be honest, does this feel personal? Yes, I admitted. But that doesn't make it wrong. The next morning, I received a message asking to meet privately. It was Tara Varma. I agreed. When I saw her, she didn't look surprised. You've seen the numbers, she said. Yes, I replied. She sighed. You found the missing funds too. I studied her face. You knew. I suspected, she said quietly. Dad has been covering losses for months. Why tell me? I asked. Because I'm tired, she answered. And because Ria won't see it. I folded my hands. If this goes public, it destroys your family. She looked straight at me. It was already breaking. Are you asking me to stop? I asked. No, she said firmly. I'm asking you to be fair. Her words stayed with me all day. By evening, the board demanded clarity. Mr. Sinha said, if fraud is proven, we activate the clause. Ananya nodded. We have enough evidence for an internal review. I spoke slowly. Then we proceed. My phone rang again. Ria. I stepped into the hallway before answering. Hello. She sounded shaken. Dad says someone is trying to destroy us. I closed my eyes for a moment. I know. What do you mean you know? She asked. I know what's happening inside the company, I said carefully. She started crying. This is all because of that stupid clause, isn't it? No, I replied. This is because of decisions your father made. You're supposed to help us, she said. I am helping, I answered. I'm protecting what I built. She sniffed. Are you punishing me? This isn't about you, I said, though part of me wondered if that was true. Please, she whispered. Talk to him. Fix it. I can't fix fraud, I replied. There was silence on the line. She finally said, You sound different. I am different, I answered. After the call, Kabir looked at me. You okay? I don't know, I admitted. This isn't how I imagined it. Ananya entered with final audit confirmation. It's verified. Funds were redirected through shell vendors. I felt my stomach tighten. Then we initiate review. Once the board sees this, they'll move fast, she warned. I know, I said. Later that night, Tara sent me one message. Do what you have to do. I stared at it for a long time. Justice felt heavy. Revenge felt tempting. The line between them was thinner than I expected. But I had signed Clause 7B for a reason. And now the collapse had begun. My palms are cold. Mr. Varma finally looks at me, really looks at me. Not like I'm invisible. Not like I'm small. He looks at me like I'm a threat. The boardroom feels tight. No one smiles. No one pretends. Mr. Sinha clears his throat. We're here to review the audit findings. I nod at Ananya. Go ahead. She stands, calm and sharp. We conducted a full internal review of Varma Holdings' infrastructure division. She clicks the screen. We found unreported vendor contracts, duplicate invoices and redirected funds. Mr. Varma leans forward. Allegations, he snaps. Ananya doesn't flinch. Verified transactions. Signed approvals from your office. He slams his palm on the table. That's impossible. I speak evenly. It's documented. He turns to me. You set this up. The accusation hangs in the air. I meet his eyes. No, you did. He laughs bitterly. You think you're powerful because of one clause? It's not one clause, I reply. It's accountability. He points at me. This is revenge. You're angry about my daughter. I keep my voice steady. This is about numbers. Mr. Sinha shifts uncomfortably. The losses are significant. Mr. Varma glares at him. You're siding with him? I'm siding with facts, Mr. Sinha says quietly. Ananya places printed documents in front of everyone. The financial gap exceeds compliance limits. Under Clause 7b, Nexitech holds authority to restructure leadership. Mr. Varma's jaw tightens. You can't remove me from my own company. I inhale slowly. We don't own the entire company. But we control this division now. You're a child, he spits. You don't understand consequences. I understand responsibility, I answer. He leans closer. If you do this, you destroy years of work. You destroyed it yourself, I reply. The room falls silent again. I look around the table. Does anyone dispute the evidence? No one speaks. Mr. Varma's voice lowers. Arav, think carefully. This affects my family. I pause for 1 second. I remember Ria laughing. I remember the balcony. I remember being called small. Then I say, so did your choices. Ananya slides the termination order toward me. Under the agreement, your signature activates immediate leadership suspension pending investigation. My heart pounds but my hand stays still. Mr. Varma stands up. You won't dare. I look up at him. Sit down. For the first time he hesitates. I built Nexitech from nothing, I continue. I protected this partnership even after personal humiliation. But I will not protect fraud. He slowly sits back down. I pick up the pen. He whispers, almost desperate, don't do this. I hold his gaze. You told me to know my place. This is it. I sign. The sound of the pen on paper feels louder than it should. Silence. No one moves. Ananya collects the document. Effective immediately, Mr. Varma is suspended from executive authority pending legal review. Mr. Varma looks at me like he's seeing me for the first time. Not as a friend. Not as a joke. As power. Security waits outside the glass doors. He notices them too. You planned this, he says softly. I prepared for failure, I reply. Yours. He walks out without another word. The door closes. I finally exhale. Mr. Sinha looks at me carefully. This will create waves. I know, I say. Kabir texts me, you did it? I reply, yes. As I step into the hallway, I hear fast footsteps behind me. Arav. I turn. Ria stands there, eyes red, breathing hard. You did this? You? She demands. I don't raise my voice. Yes. How could you? She asks. That's my father. He signed the agreement, I say. So did I. She shakes her head. This is because of that party, isn't it? This is because of fraud, I answer. You humiliated him, she says. I almost laugh. Humiliation feels different when you're on the other side. Her voice cracks. You could have warned us. I did, I reply. It was called a clause. She stares at me like she doesn't recognize me. I trusted you, she whispers. I feel something twist inside me. You introduced me as nothing. That was networking, she cries. That was disrespect, I answer. Tears roll down her cheeks. You've changed. Yes, I say quietly. I have. She takes a step closer. Fix this, please. Dad will lose everything. He lost it when he signed false approvals, I reply. She looks at me with disbelief. You really don't care anymore? I pause. I care about what's right, I say. Her shoulders slump. I never thought you'd hurt us. I hold her gaze. You said I didn't matter. The words land between us. She opens her mouth but nothing comes out. I step back. Now you know I do. I walk away before she can answer. My chest feels tight but not weak. Not small. The power shift is complete. The scandal explodes within hours. News alerts flood my phone. Executives suspended amid fraud probe. Investors panic. Stocks dip. My inbox fills with messages. Kabir walks into my office holding his tablet. It's everywhere. I expected that, I say. Some investors are pulling out, he adds. They're scared, I reply. Scared money runs. My phone rings again. Ria. I hesitate before answering. Hello. Her voice shakes. Please fix this. You can reverse it. I can't, I say quietly. You have authority, she insists. You signed the suspension. Yes, I reply. Because the evidence demanded it. She starts crying. Reporters are outside our house. I know, I say. Dad says you pushed the board, she adds. I didn't push facts, I answer. There's a pause. I never thought you'd go this far. I never thought he'd steal, I reply. She lowers her voice. Mom hasn't left her room. That hits harder than I expect. Is she okay? She keeps saying pride ruined everything, Ria whispers. Later that evening I go to their house. I don't know why. Maybe I need to see the damage with my own eyes. Mrs. Varma opens the door. She looks smaller than I remember. Arav, she says softly. Ma'am, I reply. She studies my face. Did it have to be public? The audit required disclosure, I answer. She sighs. Your father would have handled it quietly. I'm not my father, I say. She nods slowly. Pride blinds men. I don't know if she means me or her husband. Ria steps into the hallway. Why are you here? I wanted to see if your mother was all right, I say. Mrs. Varma looks between us. You both loved each other once. Ria whispers, Mom, please. Her mother touches her shoulder. Pride ruins more than money. I swallow. I didn't do this out of pride. Mrs. Varma gives me a tired smile. Then do not let it become revenge. Her words stay with me. Outside, Tara meets me by the gate. You shouldn't have come, she says gently. Maybe, I admit. She crosses her arms. You exposed what needed to be exposed. It still feels heavy, I reply. Truth is heavy, she says. But lies are heavier. I look at her. Are you angry? I'm relieved, she answers. Dad crossed lines. Someone had to stop him. I nod slowly. I didn't plan for it to end like this. No one does, she says. But pretending would have been worse. When I leave, my chest feels tight. Not from guilt. From conflict. Kabir calls me that night. You're quiet. I'm thinking, I say. About her? Yes. Do you regret it? He asks. I stare at the ceiling. I regret loving someone who was ashamed of me. The next day, the investigation becomes official. Assets are frozen. Mr. Varma is summoned for questioning. Ria shows up at my office unannounced. Her eyes are swollen. They might arrest him, she says. I don't control that, I reply. She steps closer. You could speak to the board. Ask for leniency. For fraud. I ask. For my family, she says. I feel my heart pull toward her. I still love her. That's the worst part. Why are you fighting me? She whispers. I'm not fighting you, I say. I'm standing. She wipes her tears. If things were different, I would have chosen you. The words hang between us. I look at her for a long moment. I see regret. I see fear. I see someone who finally understands. But you didn't, I say softly. She closes her eyes. And for the first time, the victory doesn't feel loud. It feels quiet. I open my drawer and take out the small velvet box I bought 3 months ago. I never gave it to her. I sit back in my chair and whisper to myself, I was going to propose. Kabir stands near my desk. You serious? I had the ring ready, I say. I planned to ask her after the merger closed. He shakes his head. You were going to surprise her with equal status. Yes, I reply. The deal would have made us financially equal. No more small jokes. No more smirks. Kabir studies my face. Do you still love her? I don't answer right away. I look at the ring again. Yes, I admit. But I love myself more now. He exhales slowly. That's growth. It doesn't feel like growth, I say. It feels like loss. My phone lights up with news alerts. Former executive charged with financial misconduct. I tap the headline. Mr. Varma's photo fills the screen. Kabir reads over my shoulder. It's official. I nod. The investigation found enough evidence. You okay with that? He asks. I didn't press charges, I say. I just refused to hide the truth. Later that day, I step outside the courthouse after a meeting with our legal team. Reporters crowd the entrance. I hear whispers. That's him. He's the tech CEO. He brought Varma down. I feel their eyes on me, but I keep walking. My phone rings. It's Ria. I stare at her name for a long moment before answering. What? I say quietly. Her voice is hollow. They charged him. I know, I reply. People are calling me names, she says. They say I chased power and lost it. I close my eyes. I remember her saying love doesn't open boardroom doors. She continues, friends stopped inviting me to events. I stay silent. You don't understand how this feels, she whispers. I finally answer, I do. She pauses. What do you mean? I know what it's like to be treated as less, I say. To feel small in public. Her breathing shakes. I never meant to hurt you like that. But you did, I reply. She sounds tired. Everything is falling apart. Not everything, I say. You still have yourself. She lets out a weak laugh. That's not enough in my world. It should be, I answer. There's silence again. I found the photo from Goa, she says softly. The one where you said we'd build something together. I swallow. I remember. I thought you'd always stay, she whispers. I thought you'd be proud of me, I respond. Neither of us speaks for a few seconds. She finally says, Are you coming back? No, I answer gently. When I hang up, I sit alone in my office. I open my contacts. Her name is still there. My thumb hovers over the screen. Kabir walks in quietly. You don't have to rush it. I'm not rushing, I say. I'm choosing. I press delete. The screen asks, Are you sure? Yes, I whisper. Her number disappears. I lean back and stare at my gallery. Thousands of photos scroll past until I stop at one. It's from a rainy evening when she laughed without fear, without status, without pretending. I don't delete that one. Kabir looks at me. Why keep it? Because it was real, I say. At least once. He nods. And now? Now I move forward, I reply. I close the drawer with the ring inside. I don't throw it away. Not yet. But I don't open it again either. Months pass before I see her again. I'm sitting in a quiet cafe near my office reviewing a proposal when I hear my name. Arif? I look up. She stands a few feet away holding a cup with both hands. She looks different. No heavy makeup. No sharp confidence. Just quiet. Ria, I say. Can I sit? She asks. I hesitate for a second, then nod. Sure. She sits across from me. For a moment, neither of us speaks. You look, well, she says softly. I am, I reply. You? She gives a small shrug. Learning. I close my laptop. About? About fear, she says. I wait. She takes a breath. I was scared of being small. Her words are simple, but they land heavy. You made me feel small, I answer. She nods immediately. I know. I study her face. There's no defense this time. I thought status would protect me, she continues. I thought if I chose power, I'd never feel insecure. And did it? I ask. No, she says. It just made me lonely. I lean back in my chair. Lonely isn't the worst thing. She gives a sad smile. It is when you push away the one person who stood by you. I stay quiet. She wraps her fingers tighter around her cup. My parents tried to fix things quickly. They arranged a match for me. Some investor's son. I raise an eyebrow. That was fast. I agreed at first, she admits. I thought it would fix my image. And? I ask. I broke it off, she says. Why? She looks straight at me. Because I realized I was about to repeat the same mistake. I don't respond immediately. I kept thinking about that night, she continues. About what I said. About how you looked at me. I remember that look. It wasn't anger. It was disappointment. I thought you'd always stay, she says again, quieter this time. I stayed until I couldn't, I reply. She nods slowly. I see that now. The cafe door opens and closes behind us. The world moves. We sit still. I'm not here to ask you to fix anything, she says. Then why are you here? I ask. To say I'm sorry, she answers. Not because you won. Not because my father lost. But because I hurt you. I feel the honesty in her voice. I did love you, she adds. I just loved my fear more. I exhale slowly. That's the problem. She swallows. Do you hate me? No, I say truthfully. I don't. Her eyes search mine. Then what do you feel? I think about it carefully. I forgave you, I say. But I can't go back. Her lips tremble slightly, but she doesn't cry. I thought forgiveness meant a second chance, she whispers. Sometimes it just means peace, I reply. She nods, absorbing that. I'm proud of you, she says suddenly. Not because of the company, but because you chose yourself. That surprises me. I had to, I answer. No one else was going to. She stands slowly. I hope one day someone introduces you the right way. I give a faint smile. I'll introduce myself. She almost laughs at that. There's nothing left to argue about. Nothing left to prove. As she walks toward the door, she pauses. Goodbye, Arif. Goodbye, Ria. I watch her leave and I notice something strange. My chest doesn't ache. It just feels steady. And for the first time that feels like enough. The summit hall buzzes with voices from every corner of the world. I stand near the stage adjusting my tie as Elena Morris joins me. "You look calm," she says with a smile. "I've had practice," I reply. She laughs lightly. "Most founders shake before signing a cross-border expansion." "I used to shake for different reasons," I say. She studies me. "Not anymore." "No," I answer. "Not anymore." We walk toward the conference table where the final agreement waits. Cameras flash. Reporters whisper. Elena leans closer. "Before we sign, I want to say something." I raise an eyebrow. "That sounds serious." "It is," she says. "I invested because of your numbers. But I stayed because of your integrity." I hold her gaze. "That matters more to me than valuation." She nods. "Good. Then let's build something global." We sign the deal. Applause fills the room. Kabir appears at my side, grinning. From just a friend to international headlines. I smirk. "Don't start." "I'm serious," he says. "You earned this." Across the hall, I notice a familiar figure. Ria stands with a small group of attendees. She looks polished, composed. Different from the girl at the cafe. Stronger, maybe. One of the guests beside her gestures in my direction. I can't hear the first part of the question, but I hear the end. "Who is he?" I see her freeze for a second. Time slows in my head. She hesitates. Then she says, "He's someone I used to know." The words drift across the distance. Not cruel. Not dismissive. Just honest. Kabir follows my gaze. "You okay?" "I'm fine," I say quietly. Elena steps closer. "Do you want to say hello?" I shake my head. "No. Some chapters don't need sequels." She smiles approvingly. Healthy answer. As the event continues, people approach me one after another. "Congratulations. Your leadership saved that merger. You handled the scandal with strength." I respond politely, but my mind stays clear. Later, I step onto the terrace for air. The city lights stretch out in front of me. Kabir joins me again. "Regret anything?" I think carefully. "I regret staying silent too long," I say. "But I don't regret standing up." He nods. "That's growth." Elena comes outside with 2 glasses of water. She hands one to me. "You built this without tearing anyone down." "I didn't set out to destroy anyone," I reply. "I just refused to protect what was wrong." She lifts her glass slightly. "To new beginnings. To better standards," I answer. Through the glass doors, I see Ria leaving the hall. She doesn't look back. And I don't chase her. I feel no anger. No urge to prove anything. Just clarity. Kabir leans on the railing. "You ever think about that night?" "Sometimes," I admit. "And?" I let out a slow breath. "I was never just a friend." He smiles faintly. "What were you?" I look at the skyline, at the future waiting ahead. I was the lesson. I turn back toward the hall, toward the conversations, toward the life I built with my own hands. I walk forward without bitterness. And this time I don't shrink for anyone.